I've just spent the last 2 weeks using these VITURE Luma Pro XR glasses, as well as some really cool accessories like this Pro mobile dock that even works with the Nintendo Switch 2. It's actually the first mobile dock for the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. Now, I need to sort of break down this whole XR AR thing and sort of talk about what this product actually is before we dive in any further, but this is something that you should definitely keep an eye out for if this is the sort of thing that you're into. To be clear, this video is sponsored by VITURE, but I do want to just say that I turned down a ton of opportunities that come to this channel, and I only accept sponsored like overviews like this when I actually believe in the product and when it's something that I actually use, which is why a handful of my only sponsored content that I've done is on glasses like this. So out of the box, this is a very premium experience. There's very nice packaging alongside a very nice carrying case, which includes the Luma Pros themselves, the USB-C cable to power them, a microfiber cleaning cloth, and a couple extra nose tips and pieces. Now, this is the first pair of these glasses to feature an RGB camera for spatial awareness, though if that's something that you're worried about, they're actually including a camera cover in the retail unit if you feel like this is a privacy concern or anything. It's something that you don't actually have to use if you don't want to. And something that I like a lot about these is that there's minus 4.0D of myopia adjustments for nearsighted users, and it also has really cool electrochromatic lenses which allow you to turn on and off the sunglasses effect so that you can either see what's in front of you or eliminate it if what's on the outside is a little too bright. It's something that's definitely more of like a blackout curtain than it is something like a pair of sunglasses, though. I don't really recommend you use these outside just like on a walk or while you're driving, for example. That would be really dangerous, but when the screen is disabled, you can see through them perfectly clearly. Now, these things boast up to a 152-inch display with a 52-degree field of view, and they do this with what they call 4K-like dual 1200p displays. I will touch on that in just a minute, but you do have a 1200p display on each side, so that you have a 1200p display for each of your eyes. They also use Harman audio for the speakers, which, to be honest, actually sound very good on these things. And lastly, I should mention that there's both a large and a regular size of these glasses. So you'd use the regular size for an IPD of up to 70 millimeters and the large size for an IPD of up to 74 millimeters. If you don't know what IPD is, in short, it's just the distance between the center of your eyes. And if you don't know what your IPD is, there is a way that you can measure this in a mirror with a ruler if that's something that you wanted to do before you went ahead and picked these up if you were interested in them. Though I will say they sent over the regular size without me needing to measure, and these have been working perfectly fine for me. Hardware wise though, these things are sick. You have your volume up and down, which is the same for your brightness, with a button to toggle between them. There's also a button to turn on and off the electrochromatic lenses like I mentioned earlier. There's two separate stages for the arms to either raise or lower, with a very solid click for each stage. I don't know, it's kind of like an addicting sound. The actual ear tips are very bendable and can support many different head shapes, and you have your magnetic connector on the right side for powering these things. Now, they don't come with like an internal or an external battery, so whatever device that you decide to plug in with USB-C is going to power them, which means that as long as the device that you're connecting to has a solid battery life, you don't need to think about charging these up. These little different sized nose tip attachments are also hands down the easiest that I've ever dealt with on glasses like this. They have a slot that they do slide into, but they're magnetic, which just made the setup super simple. I'm actually using the size 2 on the glasses, and those fit me the best. And the glasses themselves have this very cool smoke black sort of translucent finish, which, I mean, I will say, I think look insane from like a hardware perspective. It's definitely very me and is something that I absolutely love. I'm like a big sucker for transparent technology, you know, like, come on. And okay, when it comes to my experience with actually using these things, I've used the Luma Pros alongside a couple of devices. Recently, I was in Ottawa where I used the Luma Pros connected to both my Nintendo Switch 2 and the S25 Ultra, and it was solid. As long as the device that you're using supports display out, you should be pretty solid. With the Switch 2, however, it's a little bit of a different story. So with the Steam Deck, for example, you can just take the glasses and plug them directly into it. But with the Switch 2, you don't actually have display out. So to fix this really annoying dilemma, they've actually created something that's really cool, and this is the Pro Mobile Dock. This thing is sick, and even outside of the glasses has a lot of use cases for me. So what this allows me to do is actually just plug the Switch in and the glasses, and this acts like a Nintendo Switch dock. Now, you can use it to connect an Xbox, a PlayStation, and in this case, the Switch 2. In fact, this little dock here is the only one like this, so if you're interested in even just the dock itself, I will put a link to this in the description. But it's insane because instead of bending your neck neck and looking down at a handheld, you can play in bed and have a very large 152-inch display. Plus, because this thing is technically just acting as a dock for the Nintendo Switch and it's not just passing through the handheld itself, you actually get the game in the best experience possible with those higher resolution textures that the Switch can do when it is in docked mode. So that means better performance and visuals on your game without actually needing to be limited to sitting at a TV, which, I don't know, when I was in Ottawa and I was using these things, I had a lot of fun with that. Now, unfortunately, the dock doesn't support 120 Hertz, but with that being said, it still was a really smooth experience. I was playing Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on these and absolutely loving how it looked on these glasses at 60 frames per second. When I was using these things sitting on the couch in Ottawa on my little mini sort of vacation, I guess you'd call it, I had such a good time. I was playing Mario Kart and everything, and I genuinely just kind of got lost a little bit because the screen is so big and so clear in front of me, and the speakers on these things sound really good as well. It was just really immersive, and it was nice to be able to shut off from like everyone around me when I needed a break. Now, I think most people though are gonna want to use the Luma Pros with something like a phone. At least that's actually how I've been using the Luma Pros for the most part, and I've been using my S25 Ultra. There's also an app that opens up a more VR-like experience. Now, you can just connect it to your phone, launch the app, and it gives you this sort of VR dashboard with head tracking, and it makes you feel like you're in this environment that they've made. Now, this is pretty cool, but there's a lot that you can mess with. There's a whole browser as well. You can launch apps for viewing TV shows and movies directly from it, but you can view what they call immersive 3D. There's also a Mac and Windows app for this as well, but basically it turns 2D content into 3D content in real time using AI, and it's actually incredible. So I'm mirroring from the Mac right now using the immersive 3D app, and it actually really does, it works really well. This is obviously something that's, you know, impossible to show you through a YouTube video, but basically like things from YouTube thumbnails to the content itself is actually popping out at me, and it's like very wild because you don't really lose any clarity in terms of the actual text or the actual display that's being shown, but it just adds this like extra layer of depth that I think is actually kind of wild. So what it's doing is basically just showing a different image per eye, and it gives like this illusion that it's actually in 3D. Like there is depth there, like things are popping out. It is actually 3D. It's doing this on content that isn't supposed to be 3D. Like I could see the dock on my Mac sticking out. I don't understand how that's working, but that's actually really cool. It's definitely something that's worth giving a shout if you have a Windows computer, a Mac, or an iPhone. Though I've honestly spent most of my time with these things just straight up plugged in doing display mirroring from my S25 Ultra, watching things like YouTube and Netflix. The experience with these doing that has actually been really, really good. So like my wife, for example, has a hard time falling asleep because I snore a lot at nighttime. So I try to stay up a little bit later so that she doesn't have to deal with me falling asleep before her, and these are the things that I've been using to sort of aid me with that recently, instead of just watching the TV in the bedroom, which is also loud. They've actually just been living on my bedside table since then, and they don't take up too much space because the carrying case and the whole package is really tiny, and they've just been really nice to use because of how versatile they are. Like I said, because these things can plug into a PC handheld or the Nintendo Switch 2 or my phone. It's not like a super niche thing for me, and it does have its perks. And so far they do get the wife approval because they don't have very much sound bleed. She says that they're very difficult to actually hear when she is sitting even next to me in bed, which I think is pretty cool. I do want to touch on the clarity of these displays though. Luckily for me, the only problem that I have with my eyes is seeing things at a distance. So I do actually wear glasses. I just don't wear them in the videos because you'll see the reflections from the lights and stuff like that. But my prescription isn't too bad, so it's not like something I need to take with me every day. And I've actually just been able to use the dials on the front and adjust them so that they're actually just perfect for my eyesight. I will say, just like straight up, these are the sharpest sort of like version of these glasses that I've ever used. I just want to be clear, I'm not saying this because this is a sponsored video. I've actually done sponsored videos on these sort of things before, but I will say that these things are the clearest version of these sort of XR glasses that I've ever used. I think calling it 4K like is a little weird because it's obviously not 4K, but again, it's incredibly sharp considering, and I really do think the display quality on these are fantastic. It genuinely does make viewing these a really good experience, tied in with the comfort and the fact that I could just block the light around me using those electrochromatic lenses. They have also held up to my abuse, which is nice. I dropped these pretty much immediately. The plastic at the top did scuff up slightly near the dials, but this is something that you can only see when you're looking for it, and I've had to shine a light in the video to even get it to show up properly. And the frames and the lenses and everything else are in perfect condition, and it was a pretty bad drop. This cable right here also seems to hold up quite well. Granted, I'm not like working out with these things on or anything, but it doesn't really get in the way. It's not super annoying or anything. It is decently long without it being like too long where your sort of ears just getting pulled on. So yeah, I think the whole kit is pretty nice. And then the carrying case that it comes in is also big enough to hold pretty much everything that actually comes with these glasses. And it's also not much larger than just a typical glasses case, which is really cool because it makes throwing it in a backpack just super easy. Like I could just carry these things around and have a whole external display for my MacBook. Like maybe I'm at a coffee shop doing some private work and I don't want anyone to see it, or if I want to hop on a plane like I'll be doing next week, I could actually just use these to watch the content that I want to watch without someone giving me a weird look because I'm watching tech videos. I really do think these are worth a shot if this is something that you've been interested in, and if you like these sort of things. I've enjoyed my time with them a lot, and it's something that I'll definitely be keeping in my backpack. I did that with the last pair of these kind of things that I've had before, but this is definitely the best version of these that I've touched, so it's gonna stick around. And so I'll drop a link in the video description below if you were interested in picking these up. And yes, once again, thank you VITURE for sponsoring this video. I really hope you guys all enjoyed this one. If you stayed all the way into the end, a glasses emoji in the comments down below goes a really long way. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one, and peace out.